Lord, I'm doing a whole lot of talking on mute. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to my guest, giving me some clues from the backstage. So, listen, it is Monday. That's what I was saying. It's Monday, Monday, Monday. We're so excited to be here once again in Miss G's Ladies Lounge. I am your host, Gwen Finley, Miss G. That's me. I'm excited to be here, and I have another phenomenal guest. This is not her first time. She's been here before. We're going to bring her in just a few minutes. But what I'd like for you to do, if you're here joining us, if you're on YouTube, if you're on LinkedIn, wherever you are, just hit us up in the chat. Let us know you're here. Take a moment to like, tag, share, comment. Tell all your friends, tell all your girls, tell all your peoples. Come on and join us in here, right here in Miss G's Ladies Lounge. We are getting ready to have a phenomenal conversation. And it is going to be something that is going to be life changing for many of us. So we want to make sure that you don't miss any of this. I see you popping in. I see you. I see you. Y'all coming in. Y'all getting all the way live. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure that you pop in the chat. Let us know that you're here. Send someone else the link. Let them know that it's time to join. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. All right. So listen, before I introduce my guest, I want to just say I hope you had a fantastic Thanksgiving. I hope this weekend was all that you desired it to be. And if it wasn't, I pray that as you go towards the end of the year, that your spirits will be lifted and that you will experience all that God has for you. The year is not over. My bishop said that on Sunday, and I am in agreement. The year is not over. Listen, there is so much more that can happen in the next, what is it, like 35 days. So listen, let's get it on. Let's get it popping. All right. So today I have a phenomenal guest. And as I was saying, she is not her first time here. And we're excited that she has decided to join us once again right here in the lounge. We are going to have a chat. We're going to talk about life. We're going to talk about life, and we're going to talk about how to make life better. How to make life better. How to, just enjoy life, not worrying about afterlife. How about that? That sounds like a good plan, right? All right. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my guest, and her name is Smith. Ayanna Smith. Listen, we're so excited to have her back here. She is a ball of fire. So make sure that you're ready. Make sure that you're ready. Get your popcorn, sit on back, because she's going to have you rolling a little bit. Even though we're talking about a very serious conversation, she's a very funny lady and she is very joyful. So we're excited. So Ayanna is known as a life insurance broker, national workshop presenter, an MC, a host, a speaker, a coach, and this is the part I love, a professional singer, songwriter, recording artist, worship leader, and an active leader in ministry and the community. That's a lot of hats to wear, but even with all of that, she is still fabulous. All right, in being an advocate for I'm sorry, literacy, Ayanna weaves a message of inspiration, humor, and empowerment for all people whenever she speaks. Lastly, she is a co-author in 5 book collaborations and journal. I'm sorry, I'm a little tongue-tied tonight. I don't know why. As lead author, Ayanna is launching a Building Wealth Anthology. Oh my goodness, with several money professionals in December. We're going to talk about all of that in just a little while. Listen, this woman is just amazing. Life insurance broker, speaker, minister, coach, panelist, recently at the Platform Builder Summit, author, singer, songwriter, and we've got some great other news to tell you about her in just a little while. So I'm going to play this little commercial as I go into the green room and make sure that my guest is ready. We want her to look just right. We want her to be ready. So we'll be right back. Okay. Well, hello, hello, hello. Look who has popped in the room. Now your mic is on. I was going to say, don't you go talking and you on mute too.
Exactly.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing, Miss Gwen?
I
Oh,
am doing well. I'm doing well. You're looking so pretty in your red as usual. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for being here in the lounge with us on today. I'm excited to get started. Would you like to just greet the audience a little bit before we get started?
well, hello, ladies, and it's in here. Then hello to you too. I am Ayanna Smith, and I'm excited to be here with Miss Quinn. She is just doing a great thing, having her Miss G's Lounge. I love that, and talking about the things that are relevant to us, and helping us to just get closer to where we need to be with an awareness. I love what she's doing here, and I'm just glad to be a guest tonight. And she's pretty much giving you tidbits and encapsulated who I am. But I just really love people and want to have a good time and share the message that I have to share. That's the main thing that to know about Ayanna. And you get to know more about me as I talk. So that's usually how it goes with folks. They're like, oh, okay. I try to put a little sugar on the on the
I know
hard thing.
you I know you will. I know you will. So listen, I'm really excited to have you here on tonight. As we come to the close of another year, one of the things that people love to say is, "Oh, at the beginning of the year, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. This is my New Year's resolution, and blah blah blah." Listen, you don't have to wait till January 1st to get your affairs in order. So we're gonna help you get started tonight. So
Yes.
I'm glad that you're here so that we can start having this conversation already. And we I was blessed to be able to sit in your presence at the Platform Builder Summit back the beginning of November. November is it seemed like it was a long month, but so
Right.
much has happened. It was so power packed, and I loved every minute of it. And shout out to Charvette Mitchell who has joined us on tonight. Hey, 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 girl. Hey.
Hello, hey,
Um,
hey, hey,
Shout out
coach.
to Charvette with the Platform Builders Summit, and I mean, it was amazing. And
Yes.
seeing you up there on that stage doing your thing, I mean, it was a wonderful, wonderful thing, and I enjoyed every moment. So let's talk about what you actually do. So the first thing that comes up on your profile is that you are a life insurance broker. Let's
Yes.
just start right there. What is a life insurance broker?
Well, when you look at life insurance broker, of course, I would like to preface this: life insurance are not curse words, okay? They are not. They are not. They really think about this: insure your life. And while we're living, that's what we're insuring. And there's so many different ways that we'll get into, that it's not as bad as we probably think. And not so I'm a
Mhm,
dispeller of myths. That's what I like to say.
mhm,
An insurance broker, of course, that means that I have the opportunity to work with multiple companies that can help us through whatever. If you have health concerns, or you want to grow money, or you want something term, explain all of that. But I have basically just an opportunity to be as if you would think about a Sam's Club or a Walmart or something. You go in and you can get a plethora of things that can match what you need. So it's
Oh,
not
I
one
I
size fits all, one size fits you.
That's good. You started off well, because most people, when you start talking about that life insurance, they start talking about death. Lord, child, I ain't ready to die.
Right.
You're right. You're not ready to die if you don't have no life insurance.
That part right there.
Stay here a little while longer.
Yeah, a lot longer, please.
Yes. So yes, let's, we it's so much that, like you said, it's so much encapsulated in that title and in that task that you have, and you can just help people to live better, just
Yes.
overall live better. So we want to say thank you. Good evening to Chief Apostle Adrian Lee
Yeah,
has joined in.
I know Chief
Good
Apostle.
evening.
Yes. The mothers of the ministry.
Awesome. So, let's just talk about life insurance itself. At what age start really thinking about any of this, the life insurance, the terms, all of these things that you're talking about today. At what age should we really start looking into this?
15 days old. I
15
am so
days old.
serious.
I know you are.
I am so serious. Policies can be obtained on children as early as 15 days old, about 2 weeks
Mhm.
old, and that's the forward thinking that I really like to present and share and push and encourage heavily, that we start thinking on an earlier end, because most of the time we are in sometimes duress when we are
Mhm.
really at this point, like, what am I going to do? Oh my God,
Mhm.
we're so reactive. Let me say that we'll be more reactive instead of proactive. And we think that we have time, but then we don't have time at the same time. And if we would look at, well, I don't have the money, or I don't have this or that, just think about, I'll analogize it to this. People share now, that talking about the housing market, saying, oh, the prices of houses are going up. Or people that bought houses 30 years ago, yes, they have equity
Mhm.
because the time they have kept that property.
Yes.
Insurance can function in such a manner. So if
Mm,
you get the right type and the right kind, you start out with less money now, and that money will continue to grow just because time has gone by. So it works
mhm,
for you if you can hold out, if you can believe in what you can't see, basically, then it can
mhm,
work for you down the road. So if you start a policy at a child and they're 15 days old, my
mhm,
goodness, when they are 50, 60 years old, you pretty much knock their retirement out, because that money is just going to sit there and grow and grow. It's called
mhm,
compound interest, very similar to credit cards. The interest works against us when we have to pay a credit card back, but it works for us when we put our monies into a policy that can grow for us. Just by default, it's going to grow.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I know back in the day, I don't know, there a lot of people used to take out insurance on their family members, and then they didn't keep the policies up, and it was just like money wasted.
Mhm.
But yeah, just like you said, starting early, but continuing the process to
Yes.
keep it going, and until you max it out to that point where it now is going to bring you that return.
Yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
And it can
That's
work for you. Yeah. It works.
awesome.
It works well when it's planned out and positioned well.
Mm. So let's talk more just about life insurance and policies. And what are some of the common mistakes that you see individuals making when they're, trying to choose their life insurance policies?
Well, one thing I would say is, I know we see lots of commercials on the TV, and things of that nature, where you can call in and all that. But one thing I would caution, not, I want you to get something. Yes. Would love
Mhm.
for you to talk to me. Yes. But the ultimate thing is, when we there is, let me give you some technical stuff, if you don't mind
Sure.
giving me some technical.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a time period called, it's like a wait period, sometimes
Mhm.
2, sometimes 3, up to 3 years. And
Mhm.
if you get, and it's a graded policy, meaning that you're going to have to wait that long. If you passed away within the first 2 years of you getting that policy, then your family will only get what we call return of premium. But
Okay.
if you talk to someone directly, talk to an agent,
Mhm.
like how I try to service clients as best as possible, then possibly I can plead your case if there's some issues or whatever going on. Then you can get something that is immediate issue. And that's the
Mhm.
whole goal. You want to, if you're going to put your money in a place, you don't want to throw your money away, so to speak. I mean, our money is too hard to come by. We
Mhm.
want to keep it, maximize it. So if I could possibly get a client into something that's immediate once we put the application in, that is the goal. But most of the time online, if you do it online or over the phone, it is going to be a policy that's not going to be like that, just because they give
Mhm.
everybody, like the same thing,
Right.
the same treatment. Mm-hmm.
Standard. Yeah. And that's good because then so you can like customize for your situation and your circumstance. You can work with a broker to customize, what it is that you want to do for yourself or for your family with the policies, correct?
Right.
Yeah, okay, that's awesome. That's really great to know. And I hear so many different terminologies when it comes to policies, and like you said, you hear it on TV, and one of the things that I know is like when you go to these jobs and you get a job, and then they offer you these insurances, and you pay, and then you leave the job, and then you ain't got nothing if you don't carry it with you. And so it's a lot to it. Like you done paid for everybody else to live and die, and where's yours, right?
Right.
So let's talk about the different terminologies. What is the difference between termed, whole, and universal policies? Just to name three of them.
Okay, but that's good. Now, let me catch what you said, job. It is better, I say
Mhm,
best, if you have a policy that you own on your
mm,
own. You can
mhm,
get, because long I'm telling you, I was in the mindset, oh, I have two times my
mhm,
salary, blah, blah, blah.
mhm.
But if I leave that job, I have zero times my salary
Zero
because
times.
I'm not able to take it with me, or it is on a group. I mean, since there's a lot of people at your job, you get a certain rate, but it's a term policy, because most of the time, with a term, to go into your terminologies, term is just that. Someone is elected for a term. So 4 years.
Mhm,
So a term policy is usually as low as 5, but most typically 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, even some 40-year policies, but then they will end after that
mhm,
time period. And some people say, well, then that means I just threw my money away. Maybe so, maybe not,
right.
because then there are also some insertions, I would say, like a rider, living benefits, the things that will help you if you had heart attack, cancer, stroke. That is very
Mhm,
beneficial if you
mhm.
were to get sick. We're not looking to get sick, but sometimes sickness looks for us, and it happens.
Absolutely.
And so we
Mhm,
want to make sure that we're not obliterating all monies that we could possibly have, or not have the care that we need, by having a policy that could jump in and take care of that portion with us.
mhm,
So that's some of your terms. So it will end at a certain time. Also, and I would say this: a term policy can be renewed, but it's going to be renewed at such a higher rate because you paid
mhm,
a lower rate. So it's good that if you're starting out, because I have term policies. I mean, I've had term policies, and I remember starting out younger. It was a lower cost, yes, but you do have to be very forward thinking, because what I'm running into now, if people started the policy back when they were younger, then now they're 40, 50, 60 years old. They're like, uh-oh, my policy is getting ready to end. And, it's
right.
in its 20th year. Well, said policy will not be able to be renewed without it being a gargantuan amount of money compared to what you were paying.
Mhm,
And or once it ends, you have to get something now at your current age. So
right.
that's going to shift the cost. So it's kind
Mhm,
of like, which way do you want to go? And so I like to share with people. I said, if I help you with something term, let's think about and look and revisit to start layering either more term, or you're going to layer it with getting something whole life or universal life, which are falling into the permanent category. So you have two categories: term and permanent. And so with that,
mhm,
your term is going to last for a certain amount of time. Your permanent policies, whether it's a whole life, universal life, index universal life, variable universal life, those are going to fall into your permanent, meaning once you get them, they will last until, until basically you pass away. I mean, most of them don't end until maybe you're 100.
Wow.
Yeah. So most people can kind of get something if they put their monies in that, that will grow money for them as they're going on as well. And then I'll
Mm,
insert this. There is a time that if you have positioned yourself and having a permanent policy, there's a time to cash it out. So
okay.
once you get older, it's a time to cash it out because then the cost of insurance does go up every year, and you don't want to what you hear people say, eat the policy up. You've heard that too.
Right.
That was what I heard growing up. The policy got eaten up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So so
Wow.
so it's all about looking and having someone that can help you to navigate that and not just put you in a policy and never talk to you again.
Hmm. And so, what about the universal?
That's a policy that will grow money over
Gro-
time. Absolutely. And you can have your long-term care in that or living benefits, and of course the death benefit. And when I talk
Mhm.
about long-term care, of course this is long-term care awareness month, and we know people who are have to transition to home care or in a facility, and all those types of policies are something that we haven't really talked about a lot sometime in community. We really haven't shared the
Right.
depth of how it is needed. And I know that that blends in with your background in the healthcare profession, and you have seen it, and the need and the cost is up, up, up for
Mhm.
being taken care of, and people want to stay at home and all that. And there are just some different things that have gone on even in our dispensation with this pandemic, where people were allowed to, if they were family members, you could take care of the person, get paid. Now they're taking that back away. So it's so much stuff
Mhm.
that's ever changing in that healthcare insurance space, but they are very closely related. So that's why I
Mm.
try to stay up on what's going on the health side so I can help people navigate how to blend that and show the importance of having that safety net, just like we have our safety net for our cell phones. We have an
Mm.
insurance that screen gets cracked. What
More
happens
insurance.
if we get cracked?
We got more insurance for the phone than we do for our lives. Lord help us.
Correct. And get mad sometimes if you talk about, well, had you considered, oh no, if I talk about death, that means I'm going to die. No, if you don't talk about that, we're still going out of here.
Still gonna die.
How are we going out?
Right, right, right. And that's the important thing, and a lot of people don't understand that, a lot of people don't really think about it because they work hard. Oh, I will work hard so that when I die, my kids will have this and that, and they don't, have to worry about this and that. Sometimes just having a policy will help you with all of that. You don't have to work yourself to death trying to
Correct.
get the money for somebody to bury you.
Right.
you know and it just doesn't make sense, but anyway, that's another story. But yes, I, as you said, being in the healthcare system, I've seen a lot of things, and I was talking about this just this weekend. I believe I was talking maybe to my sister or someone, and I was talking about a patient that I saw, and how their money ran out, and they were in this fancy place that I was working in. Money runs out, and then what? So, and they had a few of them, and the money runs out, they're gonna shift you on over to somewhere else. But
Yes.
when you have those policies that can help, you may not get into a mansion or something like that, but at least it will help you to stay, with the care that you need to have. And it was really sad because this person obviously had a lot of money, but her money ran out. And then, there was nothing for her to fall back on, no family, nothing. And so she was just out of it. And at that particular place, this is the other thing. Sometimes you can be in a good place but not getting good care. So at that particular place, you had to pay for every little service. You had to pay for the aides to push you down the hall to the dining room. I was so blown away. I was like, "What? Is this what we doing now?"
Right.
And so because I was, I was the charge nurse, and I'm like, "Why are y'all passing this by in the hallway?" Oh, they didn't wait for us to push them to the dining room. Are you kidding me? Listen,
That's serious. That will eat up your money in 2 seconds.
2 seconds. So you got to have a good policy. You got to be prepared. You've got to be really prepared. It's very, very important. And some people just they don't think about all of that is to come. They don't realize of what is ahead of them because they're
Right.
so busy just living for the moment.
Hmm.
But you've got to live for the moment while securing your future,
At the
right?
same time, concurrently.
All right.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about end of life planning. I think you also help with. I think you also help individuals with end of life planning. Is that correct?
A little bit, yes, ma'am. Because I'm a part. I always say I'm a part of the team. Make sure you have a
Okay.
full team. Yes, insurance person is a part of, and your doctor, your even your mortician,
Absolutely.
yeah, your service are there, and your lawyer. They're all good parts of a team because you need to know how to transfer things, know how the paperwork works, know how advanced directives and all that stuff works. Um, I'm not what you say a lawyer, but there are legalities still even in what we do as insurance professionals. So
Absolutely, absolutely. But still knowing having to talk to somebody that understands, like you said, the process and be able to help you navigate even who to go to
yes.
is really important. So, that's an important thing with you. And how does this conversation actually apply to individuals who don't have a terminal illness? We pretty much just said that, but reiterate that for us because some people think they shouldn't talk about end of life events until they have a terminal illness. And like I have a lot of people when we come in now, they have especially when you turn 65, you have to do these annual wellness visits. And once you do these visits, they have a set of questions we have to ask. And one of the questions is, do you have an advance directive? What's
Mm-hmm.
that?
What's
I
that?
won't be here. I won't know. That's the answer I get very often. So tell us what you encounter when it
Yes.
comes to this.
Ooh, and there again, we go with the lack of education, not the lack of being educated, an
Right.
educated person, just not educated in the depth of what that sounds like. And
Mm.
anything we don't realize what it is or sounds like, you're like, oh, you're cursing at me. That's what I think because you get the same reaction.
Right, right, right.
So, so with that advanced directive, of course, you can co-sign very well with this. It tells people what you want done for you in the event you are incapacitated and cannot talk for yourself.
So that's
And
right.
if you cannot get that in place ahead of time, it's just like then the state and will take over and they'll
Absolutely.
tell you what to do. So I like to encourage people in the midst of getting your insurance policies. Yes, now this is another thing to really think about when you're naming beneficiaries and all that. You need to
Mm.
have someone that you trust. Yes, um,
Yeah.
and a will, even inserting that, a will does not trump the beneficiary names. So if you
Mm.
forget to change a name and don't want somebody, a certain person, or somebody passed away, or you got divorced, or whatever the case might be, if you don't stay up on those beneficiaries, the money is going to the beneficiary. They will receive that benefit. I've seen that happen. That's a travesty.
Mm.
That is
Wow.
really heartbreaking. But if you don't have those advanced directives, when you go into the hospital and all that, you people need to know. For I would say a personal story. My grandmother had where DNR. She didn't want to be resuscitated when she went into her final years. And so we
Mm.
knew that. So it was like, well, no need to fight mama because that was what she requested. But it also
Mm.
determines like, blood transfusions, all that kind of stuff, everything. Do you want these things
Do-
happening? Because you can't speak for yourself. You may come
Absolutely.
out of the coma, but if not, people need to know what to do. And it's also, I would say, a way to provide some comfort, even in like say, in a very uncomfortable situation. Because when people are grieving or they're in disarray because you have something going on, it is like at least you have spoken from your space when you were of good mind to tell
Mhm.
them what you would want as if you were talking right then, and they don't have
Absolutely.
to worry about, oh my God, what do they want? What do they want to do? Do you want to feed it to? And then if you get into, I had another situation. It was a couple that have been separated for like 20 years. Well, they're still responsible for each other. That sometimes may pose, if they're on good terms, okay. But if they're not,
Mhm.
that person
Mhm.
still is responsible.
Absolutely.
All those things will direct, like say, an advanced direct, it will direct you on what you want done when you cannot speak for yourself. Just like a will speaks from the grave, it tells people what to do once you
Absolutely.
are gone. The advanced
Mhm.
directive is while you are alive. And then there are even things, Miss G, with the power of attorney and things of that nature, all of that still are things that I talk and say, please think about these things, because you cannot talk after the point of not being able to talk or not being able to think for yourself. And
Absolutely.
we're not speaking anything bad. That's not even where I'm coming from with it. But things have happened and people are they're just hurt. They just don't know what to do because they're so upset. They
Yeah.
can't even think.
That's what I was going to say. And emotions run high. They
Yeah.
run very high. And once you make an emotional decision, you can't always take that decision back.
Mhm.
It's an emotional decision. And when you come out of that moment of emotions, as the daughter, as the sister, as the cousin, as the, husband or wife, when you come out of that emotionalism, you're like, oh gosh, did I really do that? I shouldn't have done that. So having, I have some friends. I have some friends, and I thought they was pretty weird myself, but um, you know, quite a few years ago, a few of my friends asked me to put their funeral together, and I was like, huh? Why are we doing this? And I still have their funeral program. Both of them are still here. Both of them are still here. But and I told one of them, I said, I think you need to change it now. So you got to make some changes on this. But it's the same process. You may want this to happen, you may want that to happen, but you have to go back and revisit it also and make sure and update it and make sure these are still the things that you want. And like we said, we're talking about some of those advanced directives which can change over time. So you have to update it. You have to know if this is what you still want. So you need to review it every once in a while. Make sure it still says what you want it to say, right?
Yes.
And then also, I want to go back to what you said, being educated. And I thought about when I worked at the VA hospital, I remember there was a man there, and his family was not very educated. And they were in that moment of emotionalism, and they
Mhm.
were very nervous, and they had this man for dad, pretty much. And
Mhm.
so somebody came to them with the simplified questions, do you want to do this, this? And so they said they didn't want to have him get any mechanical or, feedings and all that kind of stuff. They said no.
Mm.
So this man was sitting there literally starving to death because what was wrong with him had already begun to heal. But now he's starving to death because they said they didn't want them to give him any feedings. And we literally, as the nursing staff, we literally had to step in and slightly, nudge the family to get a better understanding of what
Mhm.
they were doing to this man.
Right.
Do you know they went and they got someone, to talk to them and to really explain? Because at first they was like really fussing at us for
Mhm.
thinking that we were just killing me. Well, this is what you signed up for. So if
Right.
you don't know what you signed up for, it
Yeah.
can be just as detrimental as you not signing. So
Absolutely.
make sure that you tell them to give it to you in the plain, words that you speak. That's really important as well. And so once they started feeding that man again, he got up and walked on out of the hospital. And it was a while. It went a while, but he was literally starving to death.
See,
Yeah.
right. So that's adding to a problem
Mhm.
that did not need to be for a
Right.
lack of understanding. And I mean,
Understand.
he really was perishing because
Mhm.
the lack of
He was.
understanding. He
He
was,
was.
and that's what I try to say. And you talked about looking at your programs and things that you have. We
Mhm.
also need to revisit looking at what you want for funeral, different
Absolutely.
things for funeral
Arrangement.
entities, layerings and
Mhm.
arrangements, exactly, because
Mhm.
certain things cost certain things. Costs are
Mhm.
going up. So
Mhm.
I had on my show, I had one of my friends who was a funeral director, and she's in the North Carolina area, but she was saying, costs vary from place to place. It
Mhm.
does, because cost of living is different from place to place. But
Absolutely.
she did say, and this is in the rural part of North Carolina where I'm originally
Mhm.
from, and she said $5,000 won't do it. So if you're
Mhm.
trying to get a $5,000 plan or policy, that maybe will take care of the food and the clergy, but it's not going to put anybody in the ground completely. It's not going to do the complete job.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and now people default, oh, I'll just get cremated. Oh no, you won't, because
Mhm. Mhm.
places
That
have
cost.
gotten that cost as well. Cost has gone up, and it's
Mhm.
really not too much difference in the
Mhm.
big scheme, the big picture of having a full regular funeral. And then a full regular funeral, it depends on what you consider regular,
Mhm.
because it's layers in that, types of caskets, types of containers, and all this different, it's state by state, but there are different things that it's just like, do you want, a base car with 4 speed and no radio, or do you want it with all the bells and whistles, and you will pay in that? So you have to have that coverage and that latitude when you're thinking about stuff. I just want to leave my family something, but if you're going to put it all in the ground, it's kind of like we have to really be forward thinking and come back sometimes and add
Right.
on policies so that you can
Mhm.
work with inflation. So that's a
That's
way to look at stuff too.
it. And when my mom passed away, we we had some information, but when we tried to go for the information, there was some missing pieces. And so, the funeral directors, most of the time, shout out to the funeral directors, they're very good. They will find that money for you.
Right,
If you don't know where it is, they're gonna find it for you.
right.
But of course, you don't want to, put all your trust in them either, because all of them are not outstanding, But
Yes,
but I
business.
will say, but I will say, when you work on certain jobs or certain positions and things, sometimes, there's policies out there that you don't even know that you still have alive. There is
Hmm.
money there that you don't even know, and you need to find that information out. You need to find it out before something happens, because everybody may not find it. But I'll tell you, we were so surprised. Money started coming from here, then everywhere. My mom, she was always, doing something, and she with the because she retired in New York, and then
Hmm.
she went to nursing school after she retired, and then she moved here, started working here, and retired again. So
Wow.
there was so there was so much that we had the general stuff, but there was so much that we didn't even know. I think this is giving me this um, back feedback. But there was so much that we didn't even know that was there and available. So learning different places that you can look and make sure that all your ducks are in a row, pretty much.
No,
All
that's
your
really
ducks.
no, that's really
Mhm.
good, because you think about that. You say your mom, worked and retired, but now people aren't necessarily retiring, but they have worked several
Right.
places and
Absolutely.
maybe have put into a 401k or 403b or something like that. And when they
Hmm.
leave, then that money's just sitting there. So it's
Hmm.
like you even need to keep a track of the different places that you have worked so that people can go back and see, is there anything? And then I would implore, if you have worked at different places, to go and see where the beneficiaries are. All the benefit, get those in place so that when you do pass, that money can transfer, if it's available, to the right
Hmm.
person. And I always like to talk to people while they're living. If you have worked at different places and put money aside, you may have enough to roll something over so you can let it work for you while you're still living, and that would
Hmm.
be some benefit that will help you in your retirement or your later years, or something that you may be able to possibly draw from at the appointed time. So it's still a lot that we do have to not just forget where we've been, but keep it all in front of us and keep doing those checks. So that was really good, talking about mom like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So let me ask you, I really appreciate this conversation because, I've worked in a lot of different places in my life, and I'm gonna go looking for some money. But but I also, I started saying to myself not that long ago that one of the things that I want to do in my life at this age and at this time is to really speak to young people and let them know that what they need to do, and that they do need to do something to secure their future, whether their future is in 2 years or 4 years or 40 years. They still need to work to secure their future better than some of the things that I have done in my life. Because as I said, living for the moment, I did a lot of living for the moment. I had some of the greatest jobs. I worked for the post office. I worked for the Social Security. I worked for so many different people.
Mhm.
But, what do you have to show for it? Because you either you're not taught, or you just didn't pay attention and listen, or whatever the situation may have been. So I just would love to be able to, make sure that every young and I tell people when I see them, there's a young girl I met her one day in the store in Wawa, and I said to her, she started talking to me because I had on my uniform. She started asking me about nursing, and when I went back to the store another day, she didn't remember me, but I remembered her, and I asked her about where her progress is, and she was so shocked because we have to, as older ones, we have to really make sure that the younger ones get this message. Because right now, it's such a carefree world,
Yes.
and then making everybody think that they're rich and they're doing great. You millennials are, oh, I got my own and I could do this on my own and I could, but no, you still need to learn some things that will help you in the long run. Because what's good right now is not going to help your future all the time. Some things is just for right now.
Yes.
So, you also coach individuals as life insurance brokers, correct?
I do. Like we're talking about the things. What are your goals? Where do you want to be? What do you want to learn?
Mhm.
Because it's just that educational piece. I'm really passionate about that. but
Well,
so
I'm saying, do you coach others to become life insurance brokers?
yes, yes,
Okay. Yes, yes,
yes.
yes. So,
Because it is a very good and solid profession, and
mhm,
um and you were saying like what's good now may not be good later. But the thing about in life insurance is a very old industry, and
mhm,
it has lasted through Great Depressions and all of that. It's
mhm,
still been consistent throughout. So becoming a life insurance broker or agent is something that I would say. I got my license, and I probably will not ever not have my license. Even if I'm doing other things, because it is something that is very consistent and very real and very necessary. So,
right.
so
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. So, when shopping for a policy, just give us a few little tips that you would say to actually start out, maybe asking two or three important questions, which will help lead you into, the rest of the shopping.
Okay. So if you're shopping yourself, things to ask. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, mainly, of course, most of the time people look at the cost because they know how much they want to kind of, spend per month, or quarterly, or yearly. But I will also say, look for the value. What are you really getting? What do you want to get? If you want to say, I want to make some money, then a term policy is not going to do that, because a term policy does not bill cash.
Mhm.
If you're like, well, I just want something to, say, cover my mortgage. I know my mortgage is 15 years. Well, then get a 15-year term, and you know that it is earmarked for that. So once the house is paid off, you know that, hey, I'm good. And if I don't pass away during that time, well, that was earmarked for that, and we'll keep going.
Mhm.
And also, too, are you adding on to what you already have? And then also, too, you can do, okay, I have a policy, or I don't have anything at all. So how much am I going to look for? So I said, a good rule of thumb, if you want to look at how much is a good place to start, kind
Right.
of look at yourself like 10 times your salary, whatever you're
Mhm.
making, and 10 times your salary, and your monthly expenses and all that. How would it look? Could you leave a policy that would cover everything you have, you know, bill wise, asset
Mhm.
wise?
Mhm.
Do you want to leave something to family? Do you want to send children to college? So you start there, and if that number, like we say, scare you, that there's ways to get you to that number. You may have to layer some policies,
Mhm.
but either start out with a term policy. Some people say, I want $1 million policy. Well, sure, we can get you that. And but if you want to grow
So
some money,
that's what I was gonna ask you when you say 10 times. You're talking about 10 times your annual.
yes, ma'am. 10 times your annual salary. So if it's 50,000, then you're looking at half a million. So that's what you want to look at as a general rule of thumb, because sometimes we hang out at a certain number, and we're very underinsured for what we
Mhm.
really have going on. So it's that educational piece to insert there to get you thinking, okay, at least I need to be thinking about having 10 times my salary. That should keep people in a good place. If I passed away, everybody could still live in the house and not have to move, because that's a big thing too. People pass away, income is gone, then the income doesn't continue after the person is gone. So
Mhm.
it's like you don't want to shift
Yeah.
everything,
Mhm.
grieving profusely, because now we have to
Mhm.
move.
Quickly.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't even have time to pack. Quickly, they want you out. And that's really really important. So how do you keep yourself afloat other than your brokerage services? And when I ask that question, I know that talking about end of life or talking about these things frequently to people, especially I'm sure everybody that you're talking to is not, as you said, some of them are already at that point. And, so it can be very, strong on your own spirit. So how do you keep yourself afloat? How do you keep yourself lifted during these times?
Okay. Explain again. So keep myself lifted, as in, if
How do you let me see what's a better word I could use. How do you keep yourself happy? You're talking to everybody else about their end of life situations and
got
stuff.
you.
And like hospice, when I look at a hospice nurse and you're around all that grief all the time, you've got to do something to lift your own spirits. So
Yes.
how do you
Okay.
lift your spirits?
I thought that's okay. That's what I said, because of the content, right? Because of
Right.
the content, how do I
Hmm.
not get on the
Right.
sad side? Yeah, got you. Well, yeah, that's why I try my very best to, because I talk about a heavy subject, to add some level of humor
Yes.
into it. Seriously, tell a story about myself,
Hmm.
and then just sometimes pull away and do mindless things, just watch something silly on TV just to laugh, so your mind is not on it and in it so much, because you still are living. I'm still human, and I guess that's why I insert some of the laughter and stuff like that, because you have to not be so serious, because it's a serious topic. It's very serious. Yeah.
It is.
So yeah, I like to have fun and talk to family and you know cut up with my friends. If I talk mainly to my family. We talk on the phone, just and try to get your mind off of stuff and not just stay there. That's not the only
Mhm.
like say that is not the only part of me. I still like to do
Mhm.
other things, and of course, I sing, Miss Gwen. So
That's where I'm waiting for you to get to that. Come on, girl, because
you know, you
singing.
just that
Was it
that that just does it.
all,
Yeah.
all the psalms in the Bible? Sing, oh my soul. I mean,
Yes.
if you can't think of nothing else to do, even if you can't hold a tune, sing,
Sing
girl.
something. Right. I say if you can't sing, make a joyful noise and keep going. It doesn't matter.
And
But
it
yeah.
makes a big difference. It makes a big difference. Yeah.
It
So
does.
so tell us a little bit about your singing. You're on the move. So we're gonna shift on over. We've had a great conversation about end of life. Let's talk about the living part. While
Yes.
you're living your best life right now. So tell us a little bit about your singing.
Well, I've been singing literally since I was probably about 3, 4 years old. My background, I tell you, I was from rural North Carolina, Bertie County, in northeastern part of North Carolina, and I grew up in Baptist church, and it was so interesting because I said, on the spiritual side of things, I know that like my dad sings, my mom sings, so everybody sings. But what happened when I was a little girl, I like to tell this story. I was a little girl. I don't even think I know I was not. I was probably 6 or 7, maybe.
Mhm,
And the
mhm.
organist, he was a trained sacred organist. Um, had gone to North Carolina Central. That's where I went for undergrad too in music. And you got to shout my school out, yes. And
Right.
he called me out. We did Children's Day every year in August, first Sunday in August, and he said, "I want you to sing the Lord's Prayer." Now, anybody that knows the Lord's Prayer know that is a hard song.
Right.
It is a big song,
A big
and it's
song. Yeah.
not necessarily a song that you would think that a little girl would sing. Um, yeah, but my dad sang it, so that was in my mind on how it was to be sung. And that's how I sang it. Now it was just amazing because I think back now, like, wow, how did he know I could even sing and trust me to
Mhm,
sing something like that? And I said, I know that was, basically the Holy Spirit. There's no other way I
mhm.
can explain that because how would he know? That's a big
Right.
song. I teach little
Mhm,
kids music it's sometimes, and I'm like, I don't know too many that can really pull that off unless
yeah.
he just heard the gift. So I'm very
Mhm.
grateful. So I've been singing forever. It's about 10. I had some recorded music. So about 10 years ago, it's popping up on my stories that I had, some music out in the charts. It charted a bit on the
Awesome.
billboards. I pulled it down, but you can still get it. I mean, if you want the music, I can still get it to you. Um,
Right.
Now it's like my music it's starting to come back out again. And I
Mhm.
said, wow, God will have a way of just pulling you right back to who you really
Right.
are. And
Mhm.
you can't really run away from it unless you just want to be totally out of order. And with that being said, I do have an opportunity. I will be traveling to Europe in a few days. Sing in Italy. So I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm excited about that.
Awesome.
Singing with a great friend in the gospel industry, Minister Earl.
Oh, yeah,
Now,
yeah.
yeah, everybody knows him. He's awesome.
I know.
And then also too, yes, absolutely, very very much so. Ordained time, yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But it is very timely. I mean, it's like, and then I think about it. Even 10 years ago, I had the opportunity. Well, you talked about earlier speaking on Charvette's platform. I've enjoyed working with her. Awesome person, awesome coach. It's like almost like friends turn family, but just very intentional about what she does and helping to draw you
Mhm.
out. But I met her about 10 years ago and she was still doing the Charlotte Mitchell show, but she
Mhm.
was on the gospel indie gospel side and
Mhm.
entrepreneurial side helping people. And so I showed up on her platform like 10 years or so ago as a gospel artist. So just
Mhm.
like now, just to kind of go full circle still, and even coming back, still working, with her
Mm.
It's just been amazing. It's been a blessing, and I'm excited. And I guess I say I get real giddy when I talk about it because I know that it's like big things are coming,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
I'm just yeah, I'm
The
grateful.
things are
Um,
here. They're
they are
not
here.
coming here.
Yeah,
They're
yes,
here.
they are here. Yeah,
You
because
you just gotta walk, keep walking
yeah,
into it. Keep walking
yeah.
into it.
So
Yes.
yes, just I'm excited. I've been, of course, singing, singing at church. My church is the Mount Chesapeake with Bishop K.W. Brown. Been singing there, for a number of years. But now it's like I'm being called, called out to sing at different churches and
Mm.
leading worship and things of that nature. So it's some big stuff. So probably next time I come back, I have some more announcements, but I am encouraged and I am inspired and I want to go forward to do everything that I have to do, singing, speaking, preaching, whatever it is. I just want to be able to do it and do it well.
Awesome. Congratulations on everything. As Apostle said, yes, walking into it. You know, I saw your video with you singing "We Shall Behold Him," and you put me in the mind of my mom. So she used to sing like that in that register and all that. I definitely don't have her gift, but I but I started thinking about her and her singing and all, and um, and I just pray that God will continue to bless you to use your gift, because even in thinking about the things that we talked about, sometimes in our earlier days, we didn't have so much opportunity, or either we were afraid and uneducated about a lot of things. And so, looking at the things and the doors that are open, as we said, just keep walking into it. But I appreciate you coming into the lounge and chatting with us, and especially sharing information that is very needed at this time. Very needed at this time. We do have, sickness and disease will always be here, but while we are living, we want to be able, as I said, to live without the worry and without the stress of
Mhm.
worrying about dying. So, being able to get this kind of information ahead of time is awesome. Now, just tell us how our viewers can get in touch with you and follow you and learn more, or maybe even connect to have a conference with you to discuss their life.
Absolutely. You can go to www.askayana.com. It's ASKAYANNA.com. And make sure you can find me on all the social media platforms there. Uh, Click and list. And also my calendar is there, so that you can set up a time and we can talk. Absolutely. And I would be more than happy to talk about what you have going on. And like I always tell people, if I cannot help you, I would try my best to find someone who can, or even if you have policies currently, you just want someone to review them, I'll review them. And if you're in the best place you need to be, stay put. And if you need to add on something, we can look at that as well. So that's how you can find me.
Now you forgot one more thing. You have a show. Don't you have your show?
I absolutely do. Goodness gracious. How can I forget my show? Money Talks with Ayanna Smith. Yes, air on Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I try my best to do the shows live because I really like that feel. But sometimes I
Mhm.
have to record them, and it's okay because
It's
we
okay.
still we still get information out. We have a good time talking about, of course, maybe other like I said earlier, funeral directors, people that are in the money space, realtors, all that. I've had different people on, and then some people just sharing their personal money story because everybody has a way that they have had to navigate, and it's
Mhm.
very important, and people need to hear it because someone can always glean from what sometimes we think is insignificant. It's very significant to the one that hears it.
I'm going to say this last thing, and then we're going to go. I sat down the other day, and I'm older now, so Social Security sending me messages. So you know how you get that? Oh, here's what you made throughout the year, or whatever. And my
Yeah.
mind said, add this all up, and I started adding it up. I had never done that before, but I said, let me add this up. I said, I've been a millionaire and I didn't know it. I
Yes,
done
it's amazing, isn't it?
made so we keep saying we ain't got no money. Honey, you done made over $1 million. You done
Absolutely.
made 2 million, $3 million. Now the question is, what did you do with it?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
investing, making smart moves, doing things that you need to do. So, did you waste $1 million? Did you, did you invest $1 million? There's so much that we don't think about. I
Right.
mean, I had never ever thought about looking at the amount of money they're telling me that I made throughout the years, and that's not even really all that I made because as a
Mhm.
nurse, you work sometimes you work what's the word as a whatever, but so you don't
Contract.
always. Yes,
Right. Mhm.
contract, and so you don't have all the numbers in there. So I was looking at it and I was like, wow, I never ever thought to sit down and do that. But I would encourage everybody to sit down and do that. And we would start thinking differently about
Yep.
our money and how we use it, how we spend it, how we save it, and all of that. So take a moment and do that. If you hadn't thought about doing it before, just take a moment and do that. All right. Thank you so, so much. I appreciate you again for joining us. Thank you to everyone who joined us over in the chat, interacting with us. We appreciate that. And I look forward to seeing more and hearing more. Make sure you do some videos from overseas so we can, follow you and cheer you on as you are singing and doing your thing. I love it. You have a
Thank you.
wonderfully blessed holiday as well.
You as well. Thank you so much for the invitation. I appreciate you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a great day. All right. I just really enjoyed my guest on today, and I hope you did as well. I hope you did. Thank you so much again for joining us. Listen, if you want to be a guest on my show, go to my website. There is a link there that you can click on and you can sign up as well to be a guest on my show. I'd love to have you if you have a business or a ministry, you're a writer, you're a speaker, you're a coach, you're, a business entrepreneur, and you want to share, if you are right for our platform, we will gladly send you the invitation to join us. And also, I want to remind you once again that I think I did. I did not even really introduce myself, but hopefully you all know who I am. You can go to gwenfinley.org, O-R-G, gwenfinley.org. It's right up here in the top left corner, and you can find out more about me. Listen, I am an author. I am a visionary author and coach and speaker and all those good things. But I just released my second book, and I want to invite you, if you have not already done so, to go and get your copy. This book is really close to my heart. It is entitled "Perfectly Flawed." The diamond status. And so I'll play this little commercial on our way out so that you can just see and read a little bit more about the book. But it's available now on Amazon. You can also, if you're connected to me, you can also still click the link that I have put out to order your autographed copy. But most of all, I would just love to make sure that you get a copy of this book because it is a very inspirational book. We all need some inspiration and motivation here and there. And so, even if you don't feel that you need it, it's a great gift for someone else. But listen, I will see you next Monday. Make sure that you join me right back here in Miss G's Ladies Lounge. And for now, have a wonderfully blessed evening. Good night.